Hey there, Dragos here, and today I want to talk about disease, therapy, and society. I actually have this download or this thought when it comes to therapy or when it comes to this, let's say, general therapy or not like modern therapy and approved therapy, especially when it comes to the psychological therapy or psychotherapy. And I just realized that when it comes to this type of therapy, it's most people or most therapeutes, they treat the symptoms of the disease or the anxiety or the depression. They just treat the symptoms and they don't really go deep to help the person realize is like, okay, what behavior, what belief, or what situation actually got you in this place? Because again, nothing happens by chance. Especially like what type of situation got you to a point where you got first anxiety, and then from that so much level of anxiety, you got depression. So it's like instead of them trying to figure that out, they kind of like go for the symptoms and they're trying to treat the symptoms. Now again, this is just a general discussion or claim. So it's like, yeah, maybe someone or some therapeutes are actually doing the root cause analysis and trying really to understand this, like, okay, what actually prompted this effect in your body or in your system? Because that is, at the end of the day, anxiety, depression, disease, all of it is just the effect of something, which is like, if you analyze the word disease, it's this is. So you are not at ease. And from this discussion, I realized that it's basically this society, this world, it's upside down. So all the rules of the society, or most of the rules of the society, it's in contradiction with our natural way of living. Because through my years of research, through my years of trying to understand myself, to trying to heal myself or to get a better life, or just trying to not be in pain or in suffering anymore, I really went deep into this psychology, spirituality, human nature, biology, and you call it. And honestly, the more I go into it, the more society seems to me more and more insane, because it sometimes completely goes against the natural rhythm of nature and the natural laws of nature. Because we are anxious, we are depressed, we are in such a state of dis-ease because we are constantly going against our natural rhythms and our natural processes. And it's like this is happening because we are listening to the rules of society instead of listening to the rules of nature. Because if we would listen to the rules of nature, there will be no disease, there will be no distress, there will be no anxiety, no depression, because that's how nature works. And if you understand this rhythm, then you understand that everything needs to happen at a certain time. And what is the rules of society? In society is like, oh, you need to make it happen now. So is really a part of it is this hustle culture, where it's like you're forcing things, you are trying to overpower things with your will, with your actions, instead of really aligning yourself with a certain rhythm. And that rhythm may take a little bit longer, or may take a little bit shorter, depending on at what part of the rhythm you are. But it will be so much easier, so much pleasant, and it will flow with so much ease compared with the hustle, do that, do this, accomplish this, in which sometimes work, but again doesn't work for everyone. And some people just hustle themselves into depression and into burnout and anxiety. But again, this is another story. So basically, most of the rules of society are going against our natural rhythms. And by us trying to adapt and to follow the rules of society, we are literally stressing ourselves out and putting so much stress, so much pressure on ourselves, that this stress and pressure actually cause most of our disease. So it's like the pressure of being someone in the world, the pressure of, having a certain persona, or the pressure of, let's say, always being fashionable, So that's a huge pressure, because some people, they have this mentality that, if one day I just go casually, or if I don't look good, then I'm not good enough. So you see, this is their program. Because how would you be in nature? So imagine that you would live in a community full of people and you live constantly in nature. You wouldn't give a fuck about how you look, or how, if your dress is impeccable or is the last model. No, because you wouldn't care about that stuff. What would be most important for you is, do you feel good? Do you feel healthy? Do you feel clean? Do you feel active? Do you want to go out, or spend time in nature, or spend time with other people? And also, this is another thing. It's crazy that in this society where everyone is so closely packed together, the closer we are packed together, the more lonely we are, because we kind of lost that sense of interaction. Because if you interact with someone that you don't know randomly on the street, guess what? It's like, oh, it's weird. It's like, well, what does this person want from me? Imagine that you do this in a community, or every time you go hiking, or every time you go to a village, it's like you say hello, and it's natural, because it's like, oh, this is a community, or you get this sense of community. And in this sense of community, there is always interaction. There is always like, okay, let me connect to the other person, or let me see, as little connection, or as much as, it's allowed, or by the other person. So this is the thing that I have seen, or I have realized and I'm just continue to realize more and more, that most people, when it comes to this treatment, they simply, instead of getting to the root cause and solving the root cause, they just focus on the symptoms, or they just motivate people. And how imagine this, that someone is on fire and they're suffering, and then the therapist is like, well, it seems that you're on fire. It's like, you just need to get used to it, because this is how everyone is living, so you should do the same. This is the insanity that we are living in. Instead of putting out the fire and, maybe breaking some rules here and there, maybe some social conduct rules, maybe not to care about what other people think, or not to be influenced or disappoint your parents because you do not want to choose a certain career path, or you just want to, live your life. But again, it's like, they don't want to see that. They don't want to go into that sphere. They just check the symptoms, and they do not check where does the fire started in the first place. Because if you put out the fire, guess what? If you do not find the source of it, it will start back right again. So that's why it's really, really important. Not important because, again, it depends from person to person. But in my view, it's really important to, in a way, disconnect from the rules, expectations of society, of other people, and really connect back with nature. Because nature is unconditional. Nature is, once you get back to this natural rhythm of nature, and you understand it on a visceral level, then you will have little stress, everything will work properly, and you will not stress yourself of, trying to achieve something or trying to do something that is out of rhythm. Because when you align with nature, you will feel when it's time to move, you will feel when it's time to rest, and you will feel when it's time to take massive action. This is the beauty of nature. It's like when it's, springtime or when it's summertime, okay, go action, action, action. When it's wintertime, it's time to relax. They don't have this in society. In society, most of it is just like a continuous push and continuous effort. Because again, you have different aspects of society. One of it is it's money, or this push to, achieve certain goals or achieve certain profit margins, which in nature, we don't really have this system. Because in nature is like, we have cooperation, we have just trying to have the resources and to create enough resources for everyone to enjoy it. And again, in nature, there is no let's say, competition. Yeah, there is a level of competition, but in society, this is taken to a whole nother level. So yeah, I hope this talk helped you in any way to just maybe realize that if you're anxious, if you're depressed, or if you have some disease, or you're not feeling well, to understand that these feelings comes from too much pressure, too much expectations, too much conditions that were put on you consciously or subconsciously by parents, society, institutions, and any other parts of society or friends. And if you simply come back and let go of society, let go of basically the ego or the need to be someone in society, then you will much faster realign with nature, and you will see how things will simply flow, they will be, and everything will be in such a state of relaxation and in such a state of flow that all the stress, all the anxiety, all the depression will simply melt away. So yeah, I hope it helps. Cheers.